Hey everyone, it's the Toy Enhancer. On this video, I'm going to take part on my first custom. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now, but I've been exploring the different options and just going over which figure I would like to handle first. There are still a lot of G.I. Joes that Classified hasn't come out with, and I figured this would be the easiest approach. Obviously, I'm pulling out 35 Storm Shadow. I'm going to attempt to make a Ninja Viper. And I did some research and talked to a few people and decided that I wanted to try to dye it this time. I'm going to dye the action figure. I've never done this before, and like I said, I've asked a bunch of people on the methods, and I even researched it on YouTube, but all I know is the easiest approach is to soak the figure in extremely hot water. I just got this out of the microwave, and I'm going to let it sit for, at least 10 minutes. So now I'm getting ready to take them out of the water. I got some paper towels and some pliers on the side, because what I'm going to try to do is detach his arms. With him being all warm, this is the best way to do it. I just take a pair of pliers, I grab him by the upper shoulder. My first attempt didn't work, but I was able to pull the arm out without breaking any plastic. There's a top rubber piece that sits into the shoulder, and then there's a bottom rubber piece, and it's more like a square peg that sits on the bottom, and that's the harder one to work out. But as long as it's heated, it should come out fine. You just have to be careful and work it out as best you can. See, I finally got it free. And I'm going to repeat with the other side. So after I got the arms detached, I slid off the shoulder band, took off the head, and that's about as far as I wanted to go with disassembling it, getting it ready for the boil. Took the hood out of the package because I wanted to boil that too. And I say boil, but you'll see in the next scene that we're not going to bring it to a boil. It's just going to be at a very low heat. Really quick, here's the dye we're going to use. It's a RIT dye, and you have to make sure it's the synthetic kind. Synthetic RIT dye. One last look at the white Storm Shadow. He's about to change. So here we are in the kitchen. I got low heat. I'm just putting a little bit of water, enough to cover my figure. And I'm going to add at least 3/4 of the bottle of RIT dye. Thank goodness my wife is asleep, because she probably would have killed me if she seen me doing this in the kitchen. Right here, I'm bending the knees so I can get good coverage on the joints and whatnot. You can bend them and twist them as you do it. Like halfway out, I will adjust his legs again and his torso. And I'm throwing all the bits in there, including the head. Now, if I was to do this again, I probably would not put the head in there, because it ended up having to be a lot of work, and I had to repaint the head And eyes, if you ever painted eyes on a G.I. Joe classified, it's probably one of the most hardest things to do. You have to use fine needle point to at least get the eyes to look right. But anyways, here we go. Here we are with our RIT dye synthetic blend. Take one more look at that. It's called Tropical Teal. I thought it would be an ideal color. It looks almost exact of what I need. So I'm going to pop the top. And like I said, you probably want to pour in about a good 3/4 of it. I probably could have poured all of it in there, but I didn't. Like I said, this is my first time, so I'm kind of just playing it by ear. Trying to be very careful not to get any on the counter or the stove because my wife will kill me. So I got my action figure in there, but on the arms, I just wanted the shoulders to get stained with the dye. So what I was trying to do was just dye the tops of the shoulders. It kind of worked. It ended up getting stain on the skin color, and I had to redo all the skin tone, and I couldn't use the original skin tone, which I kind of liked afterwards because when I changed the skin tone, I did it a little bit lighter than what Storm Shadow originally came with. But there's me trying to get some dye on the shoulders, and again, this is my first time, so I really don't know what the hell I'm doing, but just winging it. You can see where the stain kind of got on the skin, so I just stopped right there, and I knew at this point that to get the quality that I wanted, I was going to have to paint. But that being said, this dyeing process was getting into the plastic really good. And in my mind, that was giving me a good base, because anybody who paints knows that they need a good base, they need a good primer, and if the paint was ever to get nicked up or scratched, instead of it being white, it would be this dark blue color that you're about to see. So here I am. I'm about 10 minutes into the boil. I call it a boil, but it's a slow heat. I don't want the water to actually boil. And you can see where the upper torso is looking very white, baby bluish. So I decided to keep it in there and keep going. So here we are. I'm about to pull the figure out, and right from the rip, I can immediately tell that the legs and the softer plastics were very dark, as you can see right here. Extremely dark. And the upper plastics and the shin guards were obviously made of something different and just were not taking the dye. So this caught me a little bit by surprise, but again, I wasn't anticipating it to work 100% in the first place. I was very skeptical. So now at this point, I'm like, well, I have a good base and I'm prepared to paint the figure entirely anyways, because I wanted a Ninja Viper so bad. So even when your boil or something fails, you can still recover your project and just rethink your process and stay on track. That's the main part when you're doing custom figures and dioramas. Don't lose track of your goal. So here we are back at the workbench, and I'm looking over the parts, Making sure everything's dried off, looking well. So here we are. I'm about to lay down the base coat. And it's an aqua color. So you can see as I'm applying the paint, the shoulders were really close to the color I was shooting for, but still wasn't nowhere near the quality that I wanted. And when you're applying this paint, you want to go super, super thin. I actually go so thin that I have to paint the action figure at least 3 different times on the base coat. I may have went 4. Here I am, working the body. Not really caring if I get it on the black belt too much, because I'm going to paint that a white. And for all the aqua color, I used a matte finish, and all I used was just a latex paint. And for the white coloring, I used a oil-based model white, and it was a gloss. Here we are a little bit further along. You can see I'm putting on an extremely light coat, and you can still see the dark stained legs poking through there. That's because the coat of paint is extremely light. Here we are to the fun part, fabrication time. I wanted something different on this Ninja Viper. I've seen Ninja Vipers on Facebook, and I wanted mine to stand out very slightly from the other ones. So what I did is I made these spikes to go on his gauntlets, almost like a Shredder look, but I only wanted 2 because there are 2 grooves that carry down the gauntlet, and I was going to set those spikes directly into the gauntlet. Now, to get the spike, what I used was a Coke can top. And all I did was cut out the bitter end of it, and I ended up shaping it with a Dremel to get my exact size of spike that I wanted. So this is a technique that is a little bit dangerous because you are having to use the Dremel, and I highly recommend that you have some type of glasses on, safety glasses preferably. But what I like to do is I will grab the tip of it with my needle nose pliers, and then I will take the Dremel and I will ever so slowly grind away the unwanted material. Coke cans can be used for several customization projects. Anytime I want something a little shiny, or I need a blade or a knife, I always go to the aluminum Coke can. And in this instance, all I had to do was grind just a little bit off of these, and I was able to get the shape that I was looking for. Plus, I didn't have to chrome it because it already had a semi-aluminum sheen to it. So, here we are. I just finished grinding it. That's the shape I was looking for. Almost like a raptor claw. Here we are. I'm getting set up for the next stage. This is going to be where I'm going to apply it to the gauntlet. Right there, I'm just dabbing on some super glue that I had on the tip of the tweezers. I'm going to gently apply it to that groove. I was hoping it would stay in there, but I ended up having to reposition the arm. And that's just part of custom work. If you have to get in a better position to attach something, or even just slow down and recalibrate what you need to do to get it on there right. Right here, I'm just applying some glue on the tip. And this is that super glue weld that is activated with UV light. You can see here I'm holding it in place and I'm getting my UV light ready. And what this UV light does is gives me an instant bond. Super glue dries pretty fast, but this will make it happen instantly. I use this pen on a lot of plastic projects and it works so well. That's what I was looking for. I'll hit it with the light one more time and then you can go ahead and brush in glue, some extra glue on the sides if need be, and hit it with the light an additional time. And to this day, I've been playing with my Ninja Viper almost every day and have not had one of those come off the gauntlets yet. So that's how well they stayed on there. I was very impressed. Here I am, applying more glue, getting ready to set the second spike on the gauntlet. You just want to make sure you dab it on both ends. Right here, I actually just squeezed out a good bit because I didn't have enough on the tweezers. And another trick, if you position something, a piece of plastic or whatever, and just hit it with the light real quick, you can adjust it and then re-glue it and get it in the exact position. So if you're nervous about your first position, just hit it with the light for a second. It'll have a little bit of flex to it, and then you can glue it into place. But these went on pretty smooth. I was very happy with the way they look. It's exactly what I wanted. Something different. Something classified probably would never do. Here we are with hobby paint. That's the little can of white gloss that I use. And I just like this hobby paint for some reason. I don't know what it is. It just works really well. You can get it at Hobby Lobby places like that. And it's just for models. But it is like a oil-based enamel. So if you use a brush with it, just know that you have to clean the brush out with some mineral spirits if you want to keep it, or just use a brush that you can toss out later. Here I am just mixing it up really good because I don't know can't even tell you the last time I used this stuff, but as it sits, you'll see like a brown substance on top when you pop the top, and that's just all the gloss material floating to the top, and you need to mix it back into the paint. And here we are with the black shoulder strap. I'm just going to give that a good coat all around. I did it inside and out. And I believe I only had to paint the strap and the belt twice. Here I am getting ready to do the skin tone on the arms, and I even had to repaint the face. So that was a very delicate process. And what you kind of want to do is get the skin color in first around the face, and then go ahead and work in your white and black details with the eyes and eyebrows and whatnot. It is a long process if you're going to paint a G.I. Joe face, especially if it's your first time like me. I was very nervous doing it, but now that I did it one time, I'm pretty sure I could do it even better the second time. I just had to get my hands on and just go with it. Here I am, just getting it, working it around the arms. Trying to be careful not to hit the blue or the white. But occasionally you'll bump stuff, and it's no worries now because the whole figure turned into a full paint job. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and maybe you learned something from it or picked something up. Like I said, this was my first try, and I was completely satisfied with the end result, even though things didn't go the way I wanted it to. But enough of the painting. Let's get to the final end, and I'll show you guys how this came out.